thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be giving you the pros and cons of the two tracks. So people that are just getting into it or other people that have been in it and not sure that other brand names out there. I'm going to give a breakdown of the Camso 4S1s versus the Backcountry LTs. Those are pretty much the most popular tracks in the UTV world. So I'm going to start you off with the 4S1s. These are an all-season track. They got a 1-inch lug. They're a bogey wheel system. And when I say bogey wheel, for people that are just tuning in or just getting into tracks and not knowing much, is they ride all their weight rides on bogey wheels. So you can drive them in the summertime, you can drive them in the mud, snow, gravel, asphalt, and they do amazingly well. They're a good track. They're a 50% gear reduction, and when people ask about gear reduction, is basically this cogwheel you look at as your tire. On this one is an 18-inch cogwheel, so it's about, I think roughly they say 48% gear reduction to a standard machine. So you cut, doing the math, you cut your machine speed in half, where these can only run at 25, 30 miles an hour, and and that's when you're even pushing on your machine, comfortably they'll cruise at about 20 miles an hour. So the pros about this track is that you can run it all year round. You can run it early season. Like the people who I recommend this track to are people that do hunting and want to ride early fall, late spring, and don't know what you're going to get into. Farmers that are wanting to work around their property but have a good track to get around. People that have cabins that will, want to get into their cabin no matter what early fall when it's muddy, and then getting into snow and dealing with everything. This is the track for you. Just all around a great track. And that's why we focus on selling Camsos and Backcountries. I feel these are the two best tracks out on the market. Not putting any other tracks down. There's a lot of great, Track System Canada. They're a great track too. It's just for our neck of the woods and what we do. It's just not an ideal track for the inland Northwest and the mountains. So getting back to this, the pros just went over. You can drive all over. It doesn't matter what you're on. Asphalt does good. The cons, a lot of people complain about how slow they are because of the 50% gear reduction. It's nice because you don't have to do clutch work with this track on your machine, because with that 50% gear reduction, it's not putting a ton of stress on your clutch. A lot of people ask about that. The track is soft, but yet the way the cleats are set up, it wears really well with, when you're not in snow. They don't round off super fast, or you can get quite a few seasons, 3 or 4 seasons, if that's with extreme use on it of not, if you're riding snow only, I think the rubber will last as long as you have them. So they do have one high-fax system in them with the bogey wheels. There is a center, so if you do run them in the summertime, you will smell plastic or rubbery kind of burn. It's just the high-fax in the center that in here there's a high-fax in the center of these bogey wheels, and that directs the track from left to right. So when you're turning on and you're not in snow conditions or wet, you probably will smell some rubbery kind of burning. It's not that the tracks are eating themselves up, it's just the friction of that. And usually it's only when they're brand new, they clearance themselves, and then they don't smell near as bad, once they've been driven a handful of times. The anti-rotation system, we specialize in making the brackets for these for machines that Camso doesn't offer. We also offer aftermarket. With our brackets, it covers all the aftermarket world. We're on a provisional patent right now and looking this year to, where it'll go through and be a utility patent. This allows any aftermarket suspension configuration. So the Rangers, the Razors, the Generals, all the Polaris models. We have the Defender, the X3, and Honda Pioneer. We have KRX, the Kawasaki KRX. We have, and we're bringing more and more machines yearly and using this technology that we've developed with these. So it ties into the factory anti-rotation, and it allows these tracks to work a lot better, and then work with any suspension configuration to help the aftermarket world, because a lot of people, they don't think they can run tracks because they got aftermarket A-arms, and now it doesn't matter. You can have skid plates, forward-facing A-arms, high clearance, wide travel, and our brackets will still work. So overall, this is a phenomenal track. You got your pros. We'll touch the pros of going all year round with it if you need it. Early season, late season, 9 times out of 10, I push this track because it's just user friendly. You want to pull your kids out back and 2 inches of snow, you have nothing to worry about. You want to send your wife out in it, you don't have to worry about her doing something to it that could hurt it, because they're very durable, just all around good track. The cons is they're slow, and being that they're shorter, they with deep snow, you stay about the same. You maybe gain 2 to 3 inches max of ground clearance putting these on your machine. The cons is they're not great for deep snow, but they can still push through quite a bit. Don't get me wrong. But we'll be touching on the backcountries, and then maintenance-wise, with all the bogey wheels on here, you have, between all 4 corners, it's like 110 bearings total, because you got 2 bearings per bogey wheel. So maintenance-wise, they have to have a little more attention, making sure all those bogey wheels are greased and stored properly so they don't rust up, because there's just a lot, with all those bearings just comes, more failure points. But other than that, there's not many cons to it, but it's a great track overall. So now that I've given you kind of a rundown of the Camso 4S1s, I'm going to move over to the backcountries and give them do the same thing as walk all the way through them and the pros and cons on them, and then we will get into comparing them to each other. So these are the Backcountry LTs. It's a Can-Am product, or BRP. When we came into this, the only option was Camsos, and unless you were a Can-Am, and then you had the option of these Backcountry LTs for the people who want to play in deep snow. I wanted to give the people more options out there, and so we have done a conversion kit now where we can retrofit these tracks to pretty much every Polaris model, Yamaha R-Maxes, the KRX, the Kawasaki KRX, and now giving a lot more options to the people that are now with this UTV growing in the track world to meet their needs. This is a great track. 2-inch paddle. This one is for deep snow. If you're looking to play, like people that are still wanting to scratch the itch, like they gave up snowmobiling and bought a side-by-side because they got a family now, or whatever the case may be, and they still want to play hard, this is the track for them. The difference between the Camso and these is this is a high-fact system. So it doesn't have the bogey wheels. It has a couple bogey wheels for guiding around the 90-degree turns, but this is 90% of its weight is on these high faxes, which is a slider system. With having the slider system is you got to have snow to lubricate those, because being plastic and the friction of the track, you know, spinning around with the weight of the machine, you need snow in there to lubricate those and keep them cooled down. So, and these are not really recommended unless you got 8 inches or more, you know, of snow, if not a foot. So people, like I said, that need to get into their cabins, early season, late season, hunting, that's the track for them. This is more of just a track that you want to play on, you want to go play, you know, get out in the deep stuff, get off trail. This is the track for you. And the reason why they do so good in the deep snow is the biggest comparison of these is the ride height. You can see the height, just them sitting next to each other. The Camso gives you about 1 to 3 inches of ground clearance, depending on what size of tire you're running. The Backcountries give you 8 to 10 inches of ground clearance. So pretty much on average, any machine I put these on, you almost have 24 inches of ground clearance from your skid plate to the ground, which is, that's everything in the snow. As soon as you start skidding your skid plate, it takes the weight off of your tracks and you don't get the push and the bite anymore, which brings you to a stop. The 2-inch paddle is another big one over the 1-inch. This can push a lot more snow when you know, digging, chewing through it. It's grabbing a lot more snow while it's pushing. Another one is, like we were talking about with the 50% gear reduction, this is only a 30% gear reduction. So this cog wheel here is quite a bit bigger than the Camso one. I'm going to do a quick measurement on these cog wheels. So that is 16.5 inches. And this one's 14.5. So that 2 inches makes quite a difference in the gear reduction. So this is still, you know, you don't need to have clutch work to run these tracks. And being that these are only a 30% gear reduction, you can hit speeds of 55 to 60 miles an hour on machines. Actually, we had a machine that didn't have a governor on it, and he did 70 miles per hour on GPS on a Turbo S model, Polaris Turbo S model. It was absolutely bombing. It was really cool. So, you know, the pros about this are they can push through deep. You can push through 4 feet plus of snow pretty easily. You can, you got the higher speeds, which that also helps in gas. We did a test with the same exact model, a Pro XP, and we had the machine with the Camsos actually burnt almost double what the fuel did of the machine that was running this, and that was a 2-seater and this was a 4-seater. So even with the extra weight and everything, these outperformed on gas mileage almost double what those tracks could do, because with this track, the cogwheel comes through the track, and as you can see here, the cogwheel comes through. So we can run this track a lot looser, which creates a lot less rolling resistance on the engine. Where the Camsos, we have to run them pretty tight because it's relying on that tension to hold those cogwheel against the teeth of the track. So that's a huge plus with this one, is you get way better gas mileage with this. You can go through way deeper snow. You can go off trail a lot more, and then also the top speed is you can cruise at 35, 40 miles an hour on this track. You know, so you can cover a lot more ground in your ride. The also pro on these is you can see the size of the length, as these run a lot smoother through whooped out sections. Is you can get into those whoops, and the Camso 4S1s will, you know, you'll really feel going through those, and the machine bucking and stuff, where these will kind of stay on top. And then also with the 2-inch lugs, it helps cushion the ride quite a bit. So you have a way smoother ride in the backcountry LTs when you guys are riding in snow from one to the other. But the con with these tracks is they're a high-fax system. So if you're getting something that you want to just ride from your house, or, you know, get into a cabin and stuff, or hunting, these you just got to take care of them. They're still a very durable track, and they can hold up well, but they, you know, you have to have lubrication on those high-faxes, or you are going to smoke them. They are replaceable. It's a wear item, so it's not, people are like, oh, I don't want to replace high-faxes, you know, and they think it's going to be expensive and stuff. And literally replacing these high-faxes is like replacing 2 bogey wheels on the other kit, or on the Camsos. So it's I think it's $400 to do all 4 corners, 8 rails total, where, you know, like you could wipe out 1 or 2 bogey wheels a season. And it's not, I mean, you don't, but there's some people that do. So it's pretty apples to apples on maintenance if you are going to wear out high-faxes and run these more, pushing on them, you know, pushing into later seasons, and riding from parking lots to the trailhead, of, you know, seeing asphalt or drier conditions. So people ask what track is more durable. User-wise, if I was just going to let someone that had no idea take tracks out and run them, they would have better success in the Camsos, because they're, you know, with that all season and the bogey wheels, they're not going to smoke anything or have any troubles. Now, if you know what you're doing with the high-fax system and understand, like, you know, that they need to be lubricated with snow, then I would say they're both very equally matched. One is not any tougher than the other. I don't feel one frame would bend or the other. I have yet to see backcountry LT track frame bend. I have seen a couple Camso frames bend, but there's also a ton of you know, before we came around, 95% of people were just running Camsos. So now that we're getting more tracks out, we're seeing different issues. I will say the backcountry track is a little more, I would say the backcountry track is a little more prone to a tear than the solid Camso track, because these are perforated. But what's nice is with that comes lighter weight. So that goes into gas mileage, and performance wise, this track is a better performing track in the deep snow because of it. So with that, you know, this track is a perforated track, for one, how the cogwheel for its drive system, 2, that eliminates a lot of weight but you are sacrificing weight for durability. So, you know, if you were to puncture or hit a log or something, it could, you know, we've seen these tear, but I've also seen these tear too, where someone got into a metal T fence post and it basically ripped the track in half. So you know, it's kind of on, we try to, just like this video is trying to help educate you on what track is best for what. I like both of them, and I highly recommend either or. I tend to push people towards the backcountry or the Camsos because they're just so, got so much forgiveness on user friendly, where these are for people that have come from snowmobiling, still want to scratch the itch. All they're looking for is performance and going out when the snow is good. This is the track for you. Everything else, hunting, getting into your cabins, you know, riding longer into the season, early season, late season, the Camso's for you. Price points. The Camso sits at $6,300 for the tracks. The backcountries are $7,500, so there's quite a bit of difference in price. You're going to be looking with, that's just tracks. So the backcountries, if you are going to a Can-Am and using factory brackets, you're going to be roughly $8,500, give or take, with different machines and stuff. The Camsos is pretty much $6,900 for any machine that's out there. It doesn't fluctuate as much. It's only $100 or so because Polaris takes a special lug nut with the way the cog wheel is set up, with the 4-on-156 bolt pattern. So basically that's the difference that you're paying if you need those special lug nuts or not. So this is a more, okay, so cut that out. So this is a very economical track and what you get for it, and the price point is, it is a cheaper track. This track, you know, if you're going to all the other machines that we offer it for, you're right at $10,000. There are conversion kits. This one actually has the mounting system in it for the rear. So there's, you know, that's why that one's quite a bit more to retrofit it. Is you have the hub adapters, you have all the lug nuts, you have all the brackets for the tracks, you have the anti-rotation arms, you have all the brackets for the machine, and then all the hardware to allow all that stuff to work. With the Camsos, why it's pretty simple on them is they have hub adapters to change in and out. So, and that brings me to my next point is, if you are going this route, that is kind of nice to know that it's only a hub away from new brackets and hubs, where you know, $1,000, you can mate it to a new machine. Like, let's say you got a Polaris Ranger, you had them on, and then the next, you buy a new machine and you want to put them on a new Can-Am X3. Great. All you got to do is buy 2 cog wheels to change up the gearing, and then the new hubs, and it'll adapt right over without having to have hub adapters and stuff. And then you'll need the fit kit. So, you know, this on average is $900 to, you know, I'd say $1,300 to adapt it to a new machine, if you guys, you know, whoever has them, if they're buying a new machine. So that is good to know, where the backcountries, we are allowing them to fit to other machines. It's all on bolt pattern though. We do have the Pro R and different things, and the way that we've engineered our conversion kits, I've tried to make it as cheap as possible, where you have the tracks and you're going to a Polaris Ranger to a Polaris Razor, 3/4 of the stuff will work, transferring it over to try to help save you money. So it's pretty apples to apples on that, on swapping to a different machine. But that's if it's for a machine that we have a bracket for. You might be going to something that we don't offer it for, so then you'd be, out of luck on putting those onto the new machine. But yeah, I would say if you need any more advice, if I didn't cover something, hopefully this covered what you were, apples to apples, price points, performance. Is tried to cover everything in this video. If there's anything more, please comment and let us know, because I'd be happy to make another video and cover on some maybe topics that I didn't cover. Each track is about the same on mounting and dismounting. I have yet to see a Backcountry LT run itself off the track or derailment. I've seen a handful of Camsos do it, but like I said, is now we're starting to see more backcountries because of the kits that we offer. But I figure we'll probably see more and more stuff happen as more and more people are now able to run the backcountries. But like I said, let us know if you want us to cover on something else and answer more questions. Feel free to email me at jesse@trackracks.com. I'll be happy to answer any questions and give you as much time to give you the most education to make sure that we're matching you with the track that you need. Like I said, there's other tracks out there, map tracks. They're very heavy duty. they're almost like a car track. That's why I don't really focus on them. Is they're a great track, but they're kind of limited, but they're very heavy. And so nothing against Matt Track. They're a very durable track. It's just we focus for the all season. We focused on the Camsos. And then, Track System Canada, for people out there with those or considering those, is I haven't dealt with them. And I like to try to make every product look as good as we can. They're not the ideal product for the mountains, but if you're back east, you're flat. The one thing with Track System Canada is the pros is they're a very fast track. They got basically 0 gear reduction. I think they're considered like a 30-inch drive wheel on them. And so for back east, ice fishermen, people that are just going to be running groom trails and not work, those kind of things, and very flat, I think they're a great track for you. For the inland Northwest, with all the hills and the deep snow and stuff, they're just not an ideal track for where we're at. But not, other than that, I think each track has their purposes, and these are the best for around here of what we're needing. So, like I said, feel free to hit me up. Can't wait to help you out. We deal both tracks. We can sell everything, a one-stop shop. We also do heaters, rugged radios, and other supplies, but our main forte is the bracket systems and the anti-rotation systems for these tracks to work with your machines for all aftermarket applications that you can think of. So, and we have a lot more too, so feel free to email us. Even if you don't see it on our website, there's a lot of things that we do have in our arsenal with machines that can work. So feel free to hit me up and I'll help you get through whatever you need to get through. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Please like and subscribe down in I think it's this corner. And like always, can't wait to see you at the top.